Hello and welcome. You're watching Newsx and I'm Vaishali Kohli. Now, one person viewers was killed and two others injured after a speeding Mercedes G63 ran over them near Ambience Mall in the Vasant Kunj area shortly after midnight. According to police, the car lost control due to a road diversion, hit a pole and rammed into three people who were waiting at an auto stand. The victims, all employees of a restaurant at Ambience Mall, were rushed to the hospital, where Rohit, a resident of Chamoli in Uttarakhand, was declared brought dead. The driver Shivam, who was reportedly returning home from a wedding along with his family, has been arrested. Shivam's wife and elder brother were also present in the car at the time. The vehicle, which belongs to Shivam's friend Abhishek and is registered in Haryana, has been seized by the police. With the accident joining an increasing list of fatal road accidents, many caused by rash or drunk driving. It makes one question the pressing need of addressing road safety concerns. And the question today that we're really asking on Newsx is that how do we prevent such tragedies from happening? I have my guest joining me on the broadcast, Advocate Ellen Rao, former DCP Special Cell, Delhi Police. And of course, I also have Gautam Mukherjee, senior journalist, joining me. I also have Ashwini Dubey, who is an advocate at the Supreme Court. I want to begin by Advocate Ellen Rao. Now, Mr. Rao, I want to begin by asking you, how do you feel about these repeated accidents and innocent people losing their lives due to negligent driving in Delhi?
Vaishali, good evening to you, my co-panelists and your viewers. This is really another shocking incident of rash and negligent driving. Maybe that will be revealed after thorough investigation, because it will be investigated whether the driver was drunk or not. I think he might have been got medically examined, and it is also to be seen whether this what was the reason of this car driver lose control over it. Maybe overspeeding, maybe something, a failure of brakes, something like that. But all these things are the matter of investigation. But still, it's very very astonishing that the car driver rammed into three persons, and one of them has lost his life. Three young people have been injured, and one of them has been died in this case. And there too, the workers in a restaurant. And that is also the time of accident is also very crucial. That at that time, whether it is to be seen whether there was enough light in the area at that time. I know this area very well because I live nearby and I pass through this road several times. This is very, this road is no doubt a wide road, but there is a U-turn there is also, and there is a auto stand, and that makes the road narrow for the car users. That may be one of the reasons, and but the car has been seized and it is being mechanically examined to see whether there was any failure of brake or some mechanical difference, mechanical defect in that. All these things are to be investigated by the investigating officer, and then only it will reach they will reach to the conclusion what was the real cause of the accident. If the driver was drunken at that time, then definitely it will not be a very simple case of rash and negligent driving and killing a person. But if he was drunk, then definitely some other sections will be maybe attracted, that may be culpable homicide, not amounting to murder. All these things are being investigated, I think, and then after investigation of all these cases, the police will reach to some conclusion, logical conclusion after that. Shivam.
Gautam Mukherjee, I want to come to you. Now, Gautam, you know, interestingly, like Mr. Rao, I also live in the vicinity and I cross that road every single day to and fro when I come to work. So I know where the diversion in the road really is. But you know, preliminary inquiries suggest the driver lost balance due to a road diversion, of course. But it does seem somewhere that, you know, he was driving very, very fast. And what do you feel about this?
Yes, I agree with you. He must have been going pretty fast. The other thing is these diversions are created without any kind of lamp or light or reflectors. So quite often, if you're going at some speed, you arrive right on the diversion before you know what's happening. He lost control. This is clearly an accident as much as it's negligence. It is also, as the previous speaker pointed out, bad traffic management in the sense that the scooter stand right there is a hazard because it narrows the road. So all of this contributed to a simple person's death and 2 in hospital.
Now, Advocate Ashwini Dubey, you know, I always wonder, and viewers, I just want to share this with you as well. I always wonder how negligent, rash and fast driving has become such a fad these days. Because every time I sit in an Uber, I have to tell the driver, ki please dheere chalaiye thoda. So, you know, I think it's become a fad. They say that passengers encourage them to drive fast. This is just an example that I face daily in my life. But Mr. Dubey, the question really is, now I was reading that under India's new hit and run laws effective in 2025, a driver who flees the scene without reporting an incident can face up to 10 years in prison with a substantial fine. So is that applicable really? Can you tell us a little bit about this law?
As of now, that law is stayed because of the widespread protests by the truckers throughout the country against Section 106, subsection 2 of Bharatiya Nyaya Sanhita. As you pointed out, that the punishment is up to 10 years if driver flees from the spot, does not report to the police, and also does not take the victim to the hospital. But you see, the question is, had this law been at place, then definitely we would have seen by 2 years after 2024, there would have been drastically change in rash and negligent drivings, and particularly with those cases where the driver flee from the spot, 1. And 2, if law would have been placed, and driver of an offending vehicle would have been in a knowing that yes, the law is a punishment. If I commit a punishment, the offense, then punishment would be up to 10 years. So better I have to drive slow within the parameters of the limit fixed by the traffic police within that vicinity. The question here is that the law which was framed by the Britishers to rule us, to kill the Indians, that is still existing, and 106 subsection 2, though it is in place, but has been stayed by an executive decision. This Mercedes hit and run case in Vasant Kunj has opened one against the pathetic road condition, the pathetic law enforcement agencies work, and also that there was no police deployment which primarily should work for protecting the citizens by ensuring that no one is over speeding. It's not first case. Pune Porsche case we have seen the Greater Kailash case, BMW Nanda case, a number of cases where we have seen that these kind of accident have happened, and the offender of the vehicle is of course from a family who is either running any luxury car or in the intoxicated state of mind. My point herein is that when the law is there, and law has to be implemented because that finds place in a statute, why that is state. Why the people who are driving rashly and negligently are not punished? Why the punishment is up to 2 years? Mr. Rao pointed out, who is my colleague also, he has started practicing as a lawyer. Mr. Rao pointed out that the punishment is up to, if there is a culpable homicide not amounting to murder, then punishment would be 10 years. Point is, why the police, you see in Indian police which easily does not register the case in case of theft. If you reach to the police station, they keep you waiting for 1 hour to 2 hours to up to 6 hours for registering an FIR, despite that the theft had taken at your place. The same police would register a case under the culpable homicide where the punishment is up to 10 years, but a lot of evidentiary value has to be proved. My important question, very pertinent question is that lawmakers must ensure that the punishment is deterrent so that no one should die on the roads. And this is again has opened the pathetic situation that even the executive does not want that the law should be in place. 304 a maximum punishment to somebody dies supposedly in the lift, inside the lift. We have seen quite often seen Noida that somebody says, what is the punishment is 2 years, 2 years negligence. The same goes with this case. What is the, because the decision says that 106 subclause 2 is stayed and therefore the old law would apply. They see the offense from fleeing an accident spot and failing to report the incident to the police officer or a magistrate, or not taking the victim to the hospital, is a very serious offense. And it must requires, the law should have requires that the driver to take all reasonable steps to secure medical attention for the injured person, unless it is not practicable or not a mob fury. Where was the mob fury? In between the midnight, somebody is hitting. Where is the mob fury? So my point is that the executive must ensure the citizens are safe, and it's a duty on the government. We cannot say that भैया इस सड़क से आप जा रहे थे, इस सड़क पर आपको नहीं चलना था और इसलिए. See, it is the duty of the driver of a vehicle to prevent the accident, number one, and from restraining himself from engaging rash and negligent driving. And it's a responsibility. And therefore, I must urge through your channel that the 106 subsection 2 must be implemented. Look, you are talking about we are living in Delhi, and one Mercedes hit and run case we are discussing. Many people dying on roads, even their bodies are not being identifiable, their bodies are not being, that is being cremated, कि किसी के है गुमशुदा की तलाश करके और वो body cremate हो रही है. The law requires implementation, and implementation with goodwill that only be possible when the law is there deterrent, and if punishment is deterrent, then the responsibility is on the police authorities to collect all practical evidences and to prove in the court, and that only we can prevent से. Otherwise तो accident होते रहेंगे, लोग सड़कों पर मरते रहें और हमारे आपके जैसे लोग इसकी चर्चा करते रहेंगे. I belong to an area Singrauli, which is the industrial corridor where 20,000, 30,000 trucks, Highwas, 16 Highwas are working on the road, and every day people are dying in the road. Police station does not register the case और लेके मामला रफा दफा होता है. This is what is happening. Every day people dying, and the road which was meant to be used by the public in 1960 is being used by the laden trucks which are carrying. That is why the law must be there. Over to you.
All right. Now, of course, I want to go to Mr. L.N. Rao, who is a former DCP. Now, Mr. Rao, as we were talking earlier, you know, I'm so familiar with that road. And I do know that the diversion is, of course, no reason to ram into something and then end up killing people. This certainly has been, in a way, negligent driving, where, of course, that's, of course, for the authorities to investigate. But if a person is careful, and this accident has happened at 2:35 in the night, so if a person has been careful, this is not a diversion which cannot be avoided. But my question really is, viewers, that, you know, look at the nature of this accident. This is a young man working in a restaurant in Ambience Mall in Vasant Kunj, and he's trying to make a living. He's just the staff of a restaurant, and he's only in his 20s. This is absolutely unfortunate that a person at that age has to lose his life due to negligent driving. Now, Mr. L.N. Rao, there are a few things that are considered when the investigation takes place. I'd like you to take our viewers through that, because I've read that there are FIR reports, eyewitness accounts, there's of course mechanical inspection report of the vehicle that also occurs. What really is the procedure there?
Shivani, the procedure is very simple, that investigation is being taken at the scene, started with the scene of occurrence, and the scene of occurrence is visited by the investigating officers and the FSL team also in such type of cases when the death has occurred. After that, all evidences are being protected, and evidences are being analyzed whether this evidence is sufficient to arrest any person or not. As with the legal provisions have been explained by Mr. Aswani Dubey very well, and after that, taking into consideration all the evidences, the person is taken to the custody, and if it is a bailable offence, then the accused will be bailed out. But in this case, I think after a change of this BNS, recently this case has been made non-bailable as well. Even that 106.2 is not there, then still I think that this case is non-bailable, and then the person will be produced in the court with giving all the evidences collected by the investigating officer. And then the mechanical inspection of this car is very important, to prove his guilt. Whether if the car was something having some defect which was out of control of the driver, then definitely he will get benefit of doubt. And then if the road design is also such that he could not have any control because of that, but we cannot take this benefit to him because so many cars pass through that way all the way. But this person, I think that he has hit that central bus and then the pole also, and then before hitting these three innocent people who are waiting for some auto rickshaw at that moment to go to their homes. Then all these things are to be considered, and then I think it is also reported in this case that the delay in FIR was also there. If there was some considerable delay without any proper explanation, then that delay will also give benefit to the accused person. But all these things are to be seen during the investigation, and then after completion of the investigation, the case will be sent to trial. And during trial, all the witnesses are to be examined. If there was any public witness or any eyewitness in that case, if there is no eyewitness, then it will be very difficult to prove that this man was really speedy and rash and negligent driving, where the law requires to prove his guilt. But if the speed was there, because the Mercedes car has a mechanism that it will also speak that at the time of accident, what may be the speed of this car. If this car was overspeeding at that time, and that the speed of this road, as you also know, that is not more than 50 kilometers per hour, then definitely it will be a solid case against him if that speed of this car is proved like this.
All right, I want to bring in Gautam Mukherjee, senior journalist. Now, Gautam, the thing here is that, I always see that during the day, there's a speed check happening. There are a lot of cops there issuing challans throughout the day. But when in the night a person has to have a check on the speed of a car, there's absolutely nobody on that stretch of road. And if you remember in 2010, Soumya Vishwanathan, if you remember her, because all of us do in the journalism fraternity, she was a journalist who lost her life because she was coming back from work at 4 a.m. and she was shot dead by some goons on that same stretch of road. So do you not think that we must have a certain system, a law and order situation in place even at midnight?
There are not enough policemen to do very much for a city of this size, and indeed a country of this size with the population that it does have. You're talking of this stretch of road. I would say this applies to almost any stretch of road. After about 10 o'clock at night, there are no police anywhere. And half the lights, the traffic lights, are either on blinking or they're off. And people take advantage of this, even if they're not drunk, to go through crossroads and, not observe any kind of caution. And quite often, there are accidents of this order. We have so many people sleeping on the road, walking around at night, crossing the road. These people who are working in the restaurant, they were trying to go home, but they were standing in a dark place and 2:30 at night. It's a common tale in Delhi and in most of our metros. We simply do not employ enough people to do what is necessary, nor do we have enough cameras. For example, in Singapore, there are cameras everywhere and lighting, proper lighting everywhere for the cameras to record what happened. And it is very difficult to escape that. The cameras also, and then there are speed traps which record who's going at what speed. These things are not left to chance and eyewitness. This is a very old process of eyewitness, and eyewitnesses can be subverted, but cameras and speed traps cannot. Those are machines. So do we have the resources? Do we have the will? Are we ever going to get out of this killing of 10, 20 people every single night somewhere in the large city that is Delhi and its outskirts? The Mr. Dubey talked of what happens in his area. I know for a fact how many people that I personally know have been killed because of this.
You know, Gautam, New Year's Eve is coming up, and on that day we'll see that throughout the night there'll be cops all over the city. But on regular days where we really need them, they're nowhere to be seen. Very unfortunate there. Now, Mr. Ashwini Dubey, you're of course a very senior advocate in the Supreme Court. What are the kind of sections? We clearly have no proper law and order situation right now because people aren't even scared of negligent driving. They're not even scared of getting drunk and driving. So what should be more stringent measures that perhaps could be implemented by the judiciary so things can get better when it comes to this?
Executive to first lift the ban on section 106 subsection 2 which was made by the executive decision under the protest by the truckers. Why there should not be any regulation, strict measures to ensure that the people should not die on roads? If we talk about a progressive society, we talk about that we are developing and we are becoming a developing nation, but still having a law which was made in 1860 just in order to have a master-servant relationship. So first duty is not the judiciary, first duty is on the parliament and in the executive to ensure the law which is there should be implemented. Second duty lies on the traffic police or we call the police, who are responsible for enforcing traffic laws, managing traffic flow and ensuring road safety through duties like directing traffic, responding to accident and issuing direct citations. Then third and most duty lies on the driver itself of the offending vehicle, which should not drive a vehicle for more than the speeding limit which has been fixed. And that would be in a country like India, जहां हम हेलमेट अपने बचने के लिए वो छोटा वाला फैंसी हेलमेट पीछे पहना देते हैं कि ट्रैफिक चालान से बच सके. We don't use the seat belt, which is meant to prevent us from the accidents. हम इसलिए लगाते हैं कि ट्रैफिक पुलिस हमारा चालान नहीं करे. In that case, still you expect that the people who are in hurry to reach to the home, जो सोचते हैं रेड लाइट जल रही है कि नहीं रही, यहाँ कोई कैमरा तो नहीं है, उसके बाद हम स्पीड बढ़ा दें. Then you see the primary duty is only possible when the police responsible for implementation of a law is there at place. You remember 2 years back the brutal accident I could call at the 31st midnight when Anjali, or what was the name of the deceased, the victim who came from the hotel, and 2 kilometers the offending vehicle took her in northeast Delhi area, जहाँ 2 किलोमीटर तक कोई पुलिस डिप्लॉयमेंट ही नहीं था, जबकि जगह जगह पर पुलिस पॉकेट्स थे. She died ultimately. So enforce traffic laws, direct traffic, police should respond to the incidents, and again the principle underlying the law is to prevent drivers from engaging in rash and negligent driving that may lead to death, and that would only be possible when section 106 subsection 2, the stay which has been put is lifted, because the Bharatiya Nyaya Sanhita, as you Shivani rightly pointed out, that has been made in 2023 and 2024 July 1st it was implemented to ensure that that would be based on the principle of giving justice. Then why, when the entire BNSS is implemented, Bharatiya Nagrik Suraksha Sanhita is implemented, one section is not implemented? Because truckers have started striking. But truckers are also responsible to prevent the accidents, as the driver of a Mercedes, as a driver of a Alto car. So why, under the protest of a truckers, the law which was meant to stop the accidents or to reduce the number of accidents, or NCRB data which we read, बड़े इतने alarming situation है accidents की, आप पढ़ोगे then you will realize that we live in a country where we talk about कि बहुत highways बन रहे हैं, बहुत सड़कें बन रही हैं, बहुत काम हो रहा है, but still the accidents. So speed has to be controlled, and that would only be controlled when law would be implemented effectively. Over to you.
You know, viewers, we are showing you the images of that mangled car, and since morning we've been playing out that conversation with the kin of the man who's lost his life, and it's so disturbing, viewers, that he was saying that he's the only son of those two parents who were in the village in Uttarakhand, and he was a sole breadwinner. He's a staff at the restaurant in Ambience Mall. Now, is this really worth it? I mean, is this worth it? Somebody else's negligence, and somebody has to pay for it in this manner. I want to go across to Gautam Mukherjee, senior journalist. You know, Gautam, it's something that I've personally noticed, but I'm not generalizing. I'm not saying that maybe a Wagoner could not kill somebody due to negligent driving. But what is with the luxury car incidents which are coming in a lot that I am hearing a lot of? I mean, does owning a luxury car give a person the right to just speed on roads?
Well, they're capable of great speed in a very short while. I mean, they can go from 0 to 60 in a matter of 3 or 4 or 5 seconds. So most people who drive these cars are not really competent to understand what they are using, that this is a superior machine that has to be handled gently. And especially in city situations, there is really very little scope for going at 120 and 130 when there are so many moving parts. There are people who come down the wrong side of the road. There are people who cross the road. There are people who sleep on the verges. There are people who are like these 3 unfortunates waiting on the side. So, you know, either you're the kind of person who takes all this into account when you drive in the city, or you're not. And a lot of people seem to not have this kind of civic sense. Maybe they're nouveau riche, they have a car, they feel very powerful, and they don't care about other people. So this is no consideration. You know, you get a lot of this. I've been driving in Delhi and, you know, all over the country really for over 20, 30 years. And I'm always very careful. People with me joke that you have a nice car, but you might as well have, you know, something quite inferior. Why don't you go? I don't go because the unexpected in India on the highway and in the city is rampant. It's everywhere. Not only that, I think we are very lackadaisical in terms of diversions, as I've said before. Police, you need 10 times the police that you actually have. And you need, you know, people who are on night duty. There should be thousands. In a hotel, a fancy hotel, you have shifts. In hospitals, you have shifts. You know, in small little lodges, you have people who are on call, but they go to bed. But in larger places, that does not occur. Now, we don't have that system, nor do we have the technology. We are working on improving, you know, the Kavach, the thing that prevents rail accidents, and the kind of sabotage that goes on rail tracks. Now they've done some 400-500 kilometers worth of, you know, area out of the thousands and thousands. You know, many of the trains have to be fitted with Kavach. These are automatic stopping devices if there is an obstruction. Now, we need technology in a big way, and we need to provide the resources. Now, that's not being done. The policemen, why don't they want to register cases? Because they'll be tied up trying to prove it to a court, and a court is more into proof than into trying to rectify the situation, because that's their job, and they leave it to the policeman to find the proof. And without the technology, it's very difficult to prove anything. So you've got multiple issues here. You've got the people with lack of civic sense. You've got people who have fancy cars and don't know what they can do, and drive it in a you know, silly manner. Sometimes the drivers are very young. They take their parents' car or their uncle's car, or you know, they're rich and they say, well, my father will, you know, do you know who I am, sort of thinking. You've got all of that. You've got, you know, bad road design. You've got bad safety measures everywhere. It's hard to blame any one side.
You know, Gautam, this really isn't a compliment to the Delhi NCR region, but there's a joke, you know, in lighter vein, it's always said that if you can drive in Delhi, you can drive anywhere in the world. So I leave you with that thought, viewers, and that's it from me on this bulletin. Stay tuned to Newsx for more news and updates. I'd like to thank both my guests for joining me.